In the beginning of June, a new trampoline wrestling came to the channel. This was known as DTWE, which stood for Destructive Trampoline Wrestling Entertainment. This brought the new theme of hardcore to trampoline wrestling, as well as 3 new wrestlers to add in. But question goes around, what was the reason for changing the theme to hardcore, rather than the 2015 to 2017 style where there wasn't anything hardcore and everything was straight up? Today, we will be discussing that in this video. At the end of the DTWE finale, ended off where Nick defeated the Masked Warrior, where the CEO Kevin did the pinfall. And near the end, all 3 walk off. Technically, this signified that it was the end of an era, the era of TWE. So because if it was the end, it was time to come out with something new. The only thing that really circled my mind, LZ Aries, was to bring a new theme to the trampoline wrestling. So the only thing that really came across my mind was adding a hardcore theme. Looking around YouTube, there wasn't any trampoline wrestling that was hardcore themed, and I thought this could be the chance to create something new with weapons. Not any horrible weapons or any very bad weapons, but something simple, as DTW indeed was the first year we were doing anything with hardcore. Plus, another thing that circled my mind despite the characters and new wrestlers is that it would bring a new creativity to the matches. It's very simple when it comes to the weapons in DTWE. Majority of the weapons came simply from Home Depot, while the chairs came from a simple department store. The tables, on the other hand, are a little bit of a different story, as the legs had to be bought separately, and the pieces of plywood had to be ordered separately as well. The tables, however, were built by Sasuke Halo's dad, as mentioned in the DTW finale video. The pay-per-views, of course, were supposed to be something different, as we didn't want it to be more TWE brand, I wanted it to be more DTW brand. So, the name Last Alive, which resembled Royal Rumble 1, 2, 3, and of course 4, was pretty obvious. Elimination, last one there, is the winner. Days of Destruction, which was supposed to represent TWE Mania, of course was supposed to be matches which involved lots of weapons. Maybe not too dangerous weapons, but various weapons and probably a lot more. Weapons and Carnage was slightly different though, as that was entirely new. Weapons and Carnage, which of course was just supposed to feature a lot more dangerous weapons than what was normally used in DTW matches and pay-per-views. It's very easy to say, DTW indeed was a good idea. This is because in the beginning, there was no faces or heels. Everyone pretty much didn't like each other, so every wrestler played it off solo. Plus, along the way, there were new feuds, and pretty much the pay-per-views and matches all went pretty well, and pretty good. Plus, another thing to look at, the 3 wrestlers, Nick, Luke the Master who was Rage, and the Masked Warrior, got to see a different perspective of hardcore wrestling, as just ever so slightly their gimmicks changed, so that was something good and new to see at. The only thing that was probably a bad idea when it came to DTW would have to be us personally, due to the risks in certain matches we had to take. Most of them coming from Weapons and Carnage. But, nonetheless, DTW was more of a good idea rather than anything being a bad idea. So throughout DTWE, we first saw how it all started with the trailer on how it was about to rise. We had the beginning matches with each of the 6 originals. Then we went into the Royal Rumble, which was Last Alive 1, went into a little bit more of commentary matches, Days of Destruction, and more pay-per-views, like Weapons and Carnage. Throughout this, more feuds have started, as well as the character changes, as said just before. However, just like XTWEZ, it had to end off one way or another, and that was because one person didn't necessarily show up for the videos, which is why the ending had to end off with Rage versus Nick, as well as the little match with the Masked Warrior and Ghost. What was once the most hardcore trampoline wrestling on YouTube eventually didn't necessarily die, but had to end off no matter what. And this was how DTWE had to end off its career. DTWE debuted in 2018 of May. While it had a short appearance on the channel, I can say myself that it was very successful, despite the unexpected ending it had, just like XTWEZ. The future plans, or what would have happened in 2018 with DTW, shall remain unknown and not talked about. The future for other trampoline wrestling also remains unknown, as we don't know where DTW would have brought us the next years, or probably even the previous years. Nonetheless, this is the reason for hardcore wrestling on the channel. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in another video. Peace.